Hiya, it's Claire Spalding and you're watching my weekly vlog for my brand story. We're up to vlog number... What number are we up to? Vlog number 8. Vlog number 8. It's too much now. I think it's too much. No more. We're done with that. Vlog number 8. Your space to be to build a truly authentic business and brand that will connect. Connect with your target market. Connect with anyone that you're communicating with. This week, I thought I would ask you the question, do you know what branding is? People throw it around a lot, and often it's spoken for as graphic design or visual, but what is it? And I talk about it all the time, and I was wondering, do people know what I'm saying when I say branding? Because like marketing, it's now used in a lot of different spaces that aren't always accurate or clear or just all round muddled. I think, marketing especially is used for a lot of things now, like branding, and I think overused. So I thought I would do a vlog this week just to give you an idea of the building blocks of how it all works. So should we get started? So what I wanted to talk to you about is branding, marketing, sales. The nice fluidity at how it works. Branding, marketing, sales, and how it works that way. Doesn't work that way. We go down the river, downstream, not upstream. You usually, mainly never, would start with sales, then build marketing, then build branding. Or we could do it this way. Branding, as I've said before, is the foundations. It's what's going to keep everything together. Marketing is the first level, and sales is the roof. Now, I also like to think of it as a soul, physical appearance, and then action. That's also a good one. So maybe if we're going to do with that, we're talking about personalities and brands, how they're like people, I'll go with that. The inner soul, the outer skin, the action that we take. Inner soul being branding, outer skin being marketing, and action being sales. That would work, and it's visual. I'm a visual person. We've already probably gathered if you've been following my vlogs. So let me go back to it and let me start with brand. What your brand is your inner soul. It's ultimately the driver of every decision you make in your business. It sounds funny, and because it's not spoken out so much, people don't think about it like that. But if you build a very thorough and strong brand foundation of your house, then from there, every decision is easier and every decision is made. And it's really, really important because it's sort of the unseen. And I think because branding isn't as tangible as, say, sales or product or marketing, advertising, it is sort of forgotten, but it is the most important part of any business. And I'm going to say that because I know that people probably wouldn't agree with me, but I believe that it actually is. It is the most important part of business. There, I said it. Branding is the most important part of business. I've said it again. And I'm going to tell you why. It is like saying that if you're friends with somebody, you aren't just friends with them because of their skin, because of their outer layer. You're friends with something that's inside that you don't know why. You connect, but you're not quite sure. You are sure because you have same values. You believe in the same things. You drive the same things. That is exactly the same for branding. It is the identity of any business. So let me think about that even further. So when we're talking about brands that we love, think about one that you love. When I think about, as I said in the previous vlog, T2. I love Madura tea, but it doesn't have that same emotional connection that I have with T2. They have built a personality behind just the product, making it a 3D product. A brand is what takes you from a 2D to a 3D. So what I'm talking about now for a practical state for yourself as a business, sitting down and looking at your brand. Working out, as I've spoken before, your personality, what drives you, what are your values, who are you targeting? Why are you targeting? What are they doing? What are their actions? Who are your competitors? Where do you sit in the market? What are your strengths and weaknesses? Then going on to what are your unique selling points? What is it that makes people love you and no one else? And what's your mission? All of these things are a brand pack, actually, my brand pack, but they're a brand, they're branding. They're part of establishing the personality of the brand. It is vital. It is so important, and it's often overlooked. It is what takes a business from this level to this level because it's connection. It is long-lasting relationships with the target market. As I talked about before, a strong brand builds a tribe member. Marketing doesn't. And let me explain that a little bit more. Marketing is that next level. So, like a person, once you've worked out what you stand for and who you are, and we all know that in ourselves, we then apply that into how we want to look, how we want to feel. So marketing are all the actions that come after branding. Marketing is advertising. Marketing is your website. Marketing is your content, your photos. This is your brand. When people say branding, they often think graphic design. No. It is the physical attribute of branding, but graphic design and logos, that's all part of the marketing. So it comes from knowing your brand to then showing it. What do I want to wear? What makeup am I going to put on my face? How do I want to speak? That's marketing. So that is all about building on that. So once you know what you stand for and what you are, branding. So once you know what you stand for, you go to the next stage, marketing. This is when you start telling everyone what you're all about. That sounds like a Broadway musical, sorry. But this is when you now build this consistent message. Advertising, PR, communication, talking to consumers, look what you look and feel on your Instagram. Now, a lot of people think that Instagram, and I do have a bit of a bugbear about this, but you can't work out your Instagram strategy if you don't know what your branding is all about. It's going to be a mishmash of a whole lot of things that don't mean anything to you and to your target market. And if you want to build social media or any following, you need to have a consistent voice. Think about the pages that you follow as a consumer and work out why. And see if you can work out how you can apply that to your business. So with marketing, it is all the tools that you do to get it out there. It is all of the actions and the look to show people and present what your brand is and what your personality is. That is what marketing is. So it's the next level. So you have your foundation, which is branding, then you have your house. That's your marketing. It's all the look and feel, the pretty things, the colors, what colors you are, what fonts you use, the values in a practical sense, in a more tangible sense. This is marketing. Everything falls under marketing, your PR, advertising, sponsorship, all of that is marketing. And they are your actions that you choose. Once you've established your brand, you then can work out your marketing strategy. What campaigns are going to work? How are you going to communicate? That is then your marketing. And at the top of the house is the roof, which is still marketing, actually. I forgot about my story. No! Oh my gosh, I'm going to rewind. I'm not doing the house thing. I'm doing the soul thing. Okay, we'll just branding is your soul. It is your soul inside yourself. That is what branding is. It's a motivating for everything. What I have on my skin, what rings I wear, how I speak, how I look, is marketing. Where I talk, how I talk, who I talk to, marketing. That is then a strategy upon your brand strategy, upon your brand. So your branding is the who am I, what am I about, where do I want to speak, what do I want to look like? That is your branding. The marketing is, this is how I look like, this is how I speak. This is built on knowing what I'm about. Does that make sense? So once you've known what you're all about, you can then dress it up however you like that's on brand. Social media, advertising, all of those things. So the house and the soul still mean the same thing. So what I said about marketing before, still the same thing. I'm just talking about a body now and not a house. God, I gotta get my story straight. So now I've done the house. So then once the house, person, Claire, person. House is old news. Once I built myself and I'm happy with how I look, my branding, my logo, my color scheme, my look and feel, everything that I have is my branding. My marketing is the tangible part of how you want to be. Then from that is, what are your actions? So once you have your communication, your appearance, everything down pat, you're happy with it, it's consistent, you've got a good package to communicate online, offline, below the line, around the line, all around the line. Once you've communicated, you worked out how to communicate, you then do it. So once you're out there, you're then selling. You can now sell a strong story because all your ducks are in a line, because you have a strong brand, then you have strong marketing. Now you can communicate sales and consistently. It's hard to explain, but once you have a strong brand, all decisions are easier. If you're constantly sitting there wondering what I should do with my social media today, or what I should be talking about in my sales pitch, you would make that much easier when you have a nice, consistent soul brand. So your actions are much easier now. And you know what's even better? It's consistent and ease. Two really important things when it comes to marketing your brand or your business or your product. That is then makes it, once you've got all your appearance ready, you can then sell it. You can then sell it, you can talk about it, you can go out there and you know that everything you say is genuine and is real and is authentic because you've gone through the process. And it is a breath of fresh air when you see a brand and you actually don't even know, it's not a breath of fresh air. You don't actually acknowledge it. The best brands are seamless. So your brands that you fall in love with, think about now, you love them for reasons you can't even explain. They have spent a lot of time thinking about it to make your experience seamless. From the product that you've sold them to the way you advertise to them, all comes back to the brand and branding. And that, my friends, is branding. Long, sort of like ebbs and flows of communication to get it there. But I think ultimately it makes sense. You have a strong brand, your soul. It's your personality, it's your driver, working at all those sort of things that make it real and make it a person. You then show on your outside, in your skin, and what you wear and how you look and how you want to communicate. That is your marketing. And then your action to sell, your products out there, putting it out there. Once you have all your ducks in a line, it's seamless. You're not flipping flopping everywhere. It's a nice, consistent line. And it's really, really important. And I think only people that have done it realize how important it is. And that's what I'm all about, just showing you some insight on what branding is. Because I think, as I said, it gets spoken about a lot, but it really never ever gets described properly in a practical sense because it's not as tangible as other elements to do with business. And it's a hard thing to communicate. But I think that once you know it, it's simple. It's your soul. Your branding is your business's soul. And believe it or not in soul, but it's the motivator for every action that you do. So working that out is really simple. It does seem complicated sometimes, but I've worked out a brand pack from my over 12 years of branding experience, stripped back all the jargon and made it a really nice, concise brand pack. You build on your personality, you identify target market, you identify where you sit in the market with your competitors, then you talk about your unique selling points and then your mission statement. It's a really amazing online course that I've set up. I mean, I say amazing because I really believe in it. I believe in what I've produced to help you, small businesses. You are the guys that are out there putting your heart on the line, and I have a tool that I think will really help you connect and make you the success you've always wanted to be. Because I'm sure, like me, you have those days where you're going, what am I doing? And I need some direction and I'm all over the place. I had that day the other day. And you just gotta sit back and start planning your branding. Start working out your direction and what you want to be about and what you want to stand for, because then everything else falls in line. It's as simple as that. It really is. So to end today, the key message to take over from this is know what your brand is standing for. Know what your soul is. Once you've established your soul and what you're about as a brand, everything will fall into place. So do that. Think about what you are and what your brand stands for. Well, that was my tip for the week. If you have any comments at all, please comment below. I love the conversation. I'd love to help out. Subscribe so you can watch me every week and get all my tips and tricks and, you know, all the other bits and pieces you may not want to hear. Comment, like me. I'd love that so more people can see me. If you want to know more about my brand pack, pop over to my website, mybrandstory.me, and follow the steps, sign up for the 20-point branding checklist and just see if you have the 20 points that help you identify your branding. It's quick, it's easy, and it's absolutely free. So check it out, pop over. Stay true to your brand and your brand story, because what you have to offer, nobody else has. Stay authentic and stay you. Thanks for watching this week. I'm Claire Spalding. You've been watching my weekly vlog for My Brand Story, and I'll see you next week. See ya.